This is the last video for Patrick Lecture 48, which is the life force in the universe that I expanded into 2 months. And in this week, I picked up some of the Q&As, question and answer sections of the lecture. I find those valuable, and very often people don't read through them unless they found the question interesting. Sometimes the guide's answer is very profound and very well expressed. So one of the questions and answers referenced dreams. Now, I've covered dreams in Patrick Lecture 98, Wishful Daydreams. I've covered the language of spirit, which is language of the unconscious, the language of spirit, in Patrick Lecture 124, Language of the Unconscious. And the study guide on that references a chapter in Path to the Real Self. And there are many other references in the lectures, and there's also a section of Ava's writing on dream interpretation. Having covered all that in the other study guides, I'm just going to make a quick reference. And that is to suggest that you treat dreams like puzzles instead of answers. That what you get, the memory that you have from the dream, is not a straightforward factual account. It's not going to be easy to understand it as a straightforward account. It's easier to understand in terms of there are pieces here that are an invitation for you to put together and see if you can see things in a different way. Now, that sounds a little vague because all dreams are unique. Now, they may contain archetypical symbols because we're all human. People either have legs and arms or were intended to have legs and arms. And in our psyche, we think in terms of reaching, moving, running. So the normal human experience, or the standard human experience, is eyes, ears, nose, mouth, arms, legs. And we interact with the world in that way, in a universal sense. And so a lot of our dreams can be understood from that perspective. We can use other interpretations. However, there is an element that is unique to us. The idea is that dreams, leftover dreams, are not just regurgitations of memories that happened while we were sleeping. They are invitations to explore things that are not complete. And what isn't complete may involve some generic human factors, but they are unique to us. And so to honor that we have a unique perspective, and we have unique needs, and we have unique memories that can support this. So you can get help from others, but ultimately you're going to need to go inside and notice what those dream memories trigger in you. What other memories do they bring up? What does the experience, what feelings and thoughts come up when you recount the experience? And that's more important than the actual technical memories that you bring back. So use them with a grain of salt, use them gently and softly, rather than looking at them as if they're hieroglyphics to be interpreted literally. Second is that spirit language is a picture language, and pictures converted into words leave something out. What's left out isn't going to be clear sometimes, and it's going to involve you filling in the blanks. You're going to need to trust yourself to fill in the blanks, and sometimes you'll fill them in incorrectly. I remember when I would do crossword puzzles, I would do them in pen, even though I wasn't that good at crossword puzzles. I didn't like erasing and destroying the newsprint, so I did them in pen. And an aunt who was very experienced in crossword puzzles thought that was offensively arrogant of me to use a pen for crossword puzzles, but I enjoyed it more, and I didn't mind being wrong. So if you don't mind being wrong, you can play more with material than if there's a demand that you only come up with the right answer, or that you are constantly leaving room for interpretation instead of going down a certain path. So spiritual language is a picture language. And so when we translate it, the translation may need some finesse. And another aspect of the section that was brought up is that there's an element of resistance to spiritual work. A lot of spiritual modalities don't deal with resistance as clearly as pathwork does. There's reasons why we had to come here and learn all this stuff. And the reasons we didn't want to. We have reasons, we have attachments to other beliefs that make it difficult for us to grow and develop in an alignment with spiritual law. Resistance needs to be honored. There's no point in beating your head against a brick wall. If you can't get somewhere using one material, one source, one modality, switch around, see if there are other ways for you to learn that will raise less resistance to the process, but to be aware that we have resistance. So we have limitations in understanding spiritual language, dreams, messages from the spirit world, based on our capacity to understand, to translate into something we can put into words, and also what we're willing to hear, what we're willing to face. And the last thing I included in this fourth week newspaper was a term I found in my roaming around on the internet, and the term is Kaddiwample. In this moment, I don't remember the origin. Google it. Kaddiwample. And what it means is to travel in a purposeful manner towards a vague destination. Now, I came across a different word in John Steinbeck's novels when I was a kid, and I loved it, but I've never been able to find it since. It was a Spanish word, meaning the same thing. Meaning, I like to start out with an idea, but I'm not attached to the idea. I'm open to a new experience as I go. I'm open to changing my destination if that happens. That word exists in other cultures than Anglo-Saxon, where English is the primary language, in part because Anglo-Saxon tends to appreciate accomplishments over experience. We tend to appreciate being able to defend our decision rather than just go with the flow. So we don't have a word for that. So it's important to be open to seeing the word in other languages and adopting, which English is very good at doing. And once the word is adopted in and used, the concept comes in to the culture when it comes into the language. Kaddiwample is not one of those words. These words for wander and hope for the best stay outside our culture. And when I find them, they are precious, and I make note of them. And this relates to understanding spiritual language. It's important to give it a go, to try, and to not be overly attached to a precise interpretation of exactly what, where, when, and what to do next, but rather to notice what the experience is about starting the exploration. Apologies for my tongue-tiedness this afternoon. So that's week 4, Understanding Spiritual Language of Pathic Lecture 48, last video in the series of 8. I hope you read the lecture. I found it powerful and mind-broadening. So thanks for listening.